There's a very good reason why legislators don't actually do anything to benefit average Americans. And it's because legislators aren't average Americans at all. A new study's found that only a handful of legislators in all 50 states actually come from working class families. You found this story. I was captivated by this. I had no idea it was this bad, but to sum it up, out of 7,400 state legislators, 116 can be described as people who come from a working background, a working class background.
Right, and those are people, you know, they describe working class as you were in a factory or you were in manual labor of some kind, basically your average blue-collar American. And what's funny is that I actually came across this story a day after I had mentioned, you and I had been filming this show. I said, hey, the problem with legislatures is that you don't have working class people there. And then the very next day I saw this story. I was like, oh my God, we got to talk about this because it lays out the numbers beautifully. 1.6%.
Where did you find? You found this story from a site called News from the States.
Yeah.
How did you? I mean, this is incredible. I would have never found this story. I never would have known that 116 out of 7,400 legislators.
Well, I actually get most of my news. I go to Reddit Politics. Okay. It just aggregates what users find to be important news, and it's a great resource. It's nonpartisan. Yeah. It's whatever the people want to talk about, they talk about. But this one got me because out of all 50 states, 1.6% of these lawmakers are actually from blue-collar backgrounds.
Yeah, yeah.
And what that does is it limits the number of people that are in these state houses making decisions about your life who have shared life experience. So if you have somebody that's sitting in the capital of your state or even the capital in Congress that was born with the silver spoon in their mouth, you know, I'm a politician because my daddy was a politician and his daddy's daddy was a politician, but his daddy's daddy was an oil baron. And that's what it is. And so those people do not know what it's like to go to the grocery store and have your debit card be declined. They don't know what it's like to not drive for a couple days because you can't afford the gas.
Or you can't pay for medicine.
Exactly. And when you have people with the shared life experience, they take those issues seriously. And this report even confirmed that.
Yeah, yeah. It didn't just say it. There was good confirmation. What I thought was interesting is most of the time they can't afford to even run, okay? They can't take 4 months out of their lives and go run. These, you know, that class of folks that have never lived a life of really working, they can. They come from a different background. They can't raise money like those other folks can. The working class can't go out and talk to a corporation, hey, give me money for my campaign. They know the other guy can because the other guy works for the corporation in some capacity. He delivers for the corporation. There are these natural obstacles. And the other part is some states where they pay legislators, they only pay $18,000, $19,000. And somebody may be working in a shop where they're making $50,000, $60,000. It's hard for them to say, okay, I'm going to go run for office right now. There's a lot of inset obstacles, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, one of the reasons I think that you and I have been so effective at what we do, especially talking about these consumer issues, talking about these economic issues, neither you nor I were born into a life of privilege by any stretch of the imagination.
That's understand. I was raised by 8 different families growing up, and there was a reason for it. So
exactly.
And I know you didn't at all.
Right,
so.
And so we know what it's like, and those are values that we have carried with us throughout our lives. Yeah. And I think we're both very comfortable at this point. But we still can talk about these things with passion, because it may have been 5 years ago, it may have been 40 years ago that we went through these, but those memories are still just as fresh. And so we understand what it's like for these people, and that makes us effective because we care, because we've been there. And if you don't have that, Ed Schultz was another perfect example of that.
I used to do a show with Ed, and we had so much in common because that's where he came from.
Exactly.
A working class.
And nobody else had his passion.
No, oh, good God. I mean, the show ponies they have up there they don't have anything in common with the working class. They're almost in an elitist bubble, the same way that some of these politicians are in an elitist bubble.
They all are.
And so 1.6%, that is a staggering number, Farron. This is a good find. I want to explore this a little bit more because I think it's essentially part of the big political process that we're having to suffer through right now.
Yeah.
You don't think These people go to bat for things like school lunches. We need to pay for school lunches. They go to bat for equal wage, for better wages. They go to bat on things like safe work environments because they come from that. They've seen it. They've been around a dinner table where this stuff's being talked about.
Yeah.
These other folks, this elitist bubble that so often becomes the leaders in our political process, they have nothing in common with that, do they?
Nope.
Thanks for joining me, okay?
Thank you.
That's all for this week, but all these segments are going to be posted right here on this channel in the coming week. Make sure you subscribe. I'm Mike Papantonio, and this has been America's Lawyer, where every week we tell you stories that corporate media simply won't tell you because their advertisers order them not to tell you, and they're going to lose advertising dollars if they say something the advertiser doesn't want. Or their political connections just require that they can't color outside the lines. They have to color. If you're Republican, you got to color within these lines. If you're Democrat, you got to color within these lines. And they can't do anything but that. But as you can tell, we don't have that problem around here. We're going to call balls and strikes, whichever side you come from. See you next time.
Ring of Fire founder and host of America's Lawyer, Mike Papantonio, has a new book, came out this week, called Suspicious Activity. Like his other books before it, this book actually deals with real legal cases that Mike Papantonio has handled, but in a fictionalized way. The book follows the character of Nick Dichotomous that Papantonio first introduced in his book Law and Disorder, and it carries on the story that began in Law and Disorder through Law and Vengeance, Law and Addiction, Inhuman Trafficking, and now Suspicious Activity. This book in particular deals with the financial institutions that have helped launder money for terrorist organizations, which of course is a topic we have covered extensively here on Ring of Fire. So, if you're a follower of Mike Papantonio's books, or if this is your first one, you can get your copy of Suspicious Activity now. Just go to MikePapantonio.com and place your order. And if you haven't already, check out Mike's other books, also available on MikePapantonio.com.